Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into chapter 14 of Fred Clements' fantastic book, 30 Coaching Tools and Approaches That Actually Work, and we are tackling a technique called chunking up and chunking down. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a one-to-one where you just don't know how to help the other person move forward? The whole conversation feels completely stuck in the mud. You're dealing with vague goals, maybe a lack of confidence, or zero ownership of the next steps. It's incredibly frustrating, right? But hey, it happens to the best of us, and it definitely doesn't have to be a permanent roadblock. Usually this trap happens because the person is either stuck way up in the clouds, they've got all this grand vision but absolutely no plan on how to execute it, or they are drowning down in the weeds. They're buried in endless daily tasks, complaining about emails, but they've completely lost sight of why their work actually matters in the first place. To fix this, we'll walk through the conversation trap, look at what chunking actually is, how to move up and down the ladder, common chunking mistakes to avoid, see chunking in action, and finally, expand your coaching toolkit. Section 1, the conversation trap. Let's really look at these two extremes where our workplace conversations tend to completely derail. It's a stark disconnect, isn't it? On one hand, you have high-level chunks. Someone says, "I just want to be more successful." Okay, that's super inspiring, but it's incredibly vague. On the other hand, you've got low-level chunks. Someone rattling off a dozen minor spreadsheet updates. That's concrete, sure, but it completely lacks meaning. When people are stuck up high, they take no action. When they're stuck down low, they have zero motivation. Section 2, what is chunking? So how do we build a bridge between these two extremes? Well, we use chunking in really plain, practical terms. Chunking is just intentionally changing the level at which someone is thinking or speaking. You're actively helping them shift gears between those broad, sweeping ideas and the nitty-gritty specific details so they can finally get unstuck. Think of it like a ladder. You climb up the ladder to connect with meaning and purpose. You climb down the ladder to define specific actionable details, or you can even move sideways to generate new options. The whole goal here isn't to live permanently at the top or the bottom. It's about building the fluency to move up and down based on exactly what the person in front of you needs at that very moment. Section 3, moving up and down. Okay, let's talk about how to actually drive this movement. If your team member is totally overwhelmed by the minutiae, or they're arguing over tiny details, you need to chunk up. Ask things like, why is this important, or what will this make possible? This pulls them right out of the weeds and forces them to reconnect with their deeper motivation. It links that frustrating daily task back to a much larger shared purpose. Now flip that around. When someone is being way too abstract, saying something like, we really need to improve team culture. That's great, but what does it actually mean? You have to chunk down. Ask them, how specifically will you do this? Or what exactly is the first step? You're forcing that lofty abstract vision down into concrete behavioral reality. And hey, sometimes a conversation doesn't need to go up or down at all. It just needs a totally fresh angle. That's when you chunk sideways. If they feel completely trapped by one single path, ask, well, if this route was blocked, what other route might work? It's a fantastic way to unlock creative problem solving and massively expand their options. Section 4, common chunking mistakes. As powerful as this tool is, there are for sure a few traps you need to dodge. First off, you have to go gently. As Fred Clements puts it, the coach is not forcing the conversation, the coach is helping the person change perspective. This shouldn't feel like some aggressive police interrogation. It's a collaborative exploration. The tool is there to serve the conversation, not dictate it. Watch out for these specific missteps. Don't just hammer them with why. That's going to make anyone defensive. Use softer phrasing. Also, never chunk down into specific tasks before you've actually uncovered their motivation, or else the action is going to feel totally empty. And finally, if you chunk up to these big, inspiring ideas but never bring the conversation back down to earth, they'll leave feeling great but have literally no clue what to do next. Section 5, chunking in action. Let's see what this looks like in practice. Here's how you actually apply it. Let's say someone comes to you with a vague goal. I want to improve my confidence. First, you chunk up to find the motivation. What will that give you? They say, well, I'll contribute more in meetings. Boom, you have the motivation. Now you immediately chunk down. Okay, what is the very first meeting where you can practice this? And what specifically will you say differently? See what just happened there. By chunking up to find the why, and then right back down to find the how. You've built a critical bridge between motivation and concrete action. You've solved that exact workplace frustration we talked about at the very beginning. You're helping real people make real change just by shifting their altitude. Section 6. Expand your coaching toolkit. Mastering this upward and downward movement will absolutely transform your everyday conversations. So the next time you sit down for a one-to-one, are you going to let them stay stuck in the clouds or the weeds? Or are you going to intentionally change the altitude of the conversation? For more information, head over to clementsconsultancy.com to buy a discounted PDF copy of the book, or head over to Amazon for the ebook or printed version.